Restoration Druid is a fairly complex healer that relies on heal over time spells. I am going to show it to you in a non-complex manner so you can hit the ground running as a beginner without any information overload. Starting off with our stat priority, especially as a beginner, do not worry too much about this. The first thing you're going to want is eye level. The higher eye level the gear, the better, as long, of course, as it has intellect on it. Now, if you do want to delve a little bit more into the secondary stats as a beginner, that's also fine, of course, and this is the priority we're going to want to follow. Now, as a druid, especially in Restoration, a lot of our heals are heals over time spells, meaning they're not instant and they actually will slowly heal the target over time. Who would have guessed? And therefore, our top priority secondary stat is haste. This is going to reduce the global cooldown. That's the wait in between when you can cast spells. It's also going to make our heals add ticks to our hots. In other words, if it would have gone heal, 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 it will now add a fifth one on after a certain amount of haste. And it's also going to reduce our cast time of our spells. So because we have so many hots or heals over time as a druid, haste is really, really important. The next one is Mastery, and this is actually going to increase how much healing we do by the amount of heals over times we have on our target. And then lastly, it's Versatility and Crit. Crit chance meaning that you have a chance to do double the amount of healing, and Versatility is a more general stat that's a bit better in Mythic Plus, increasing outgoing healing and damage and a little bit of survivability. So again, as a beginner, don't worry too much about this and just concentrate on eye level if you are new or a returning player. Regarding the talent trees, this one on the left is for raiding and the one on the right is for Mythic Plus. Don't worry too much about all the individual talents. Again, I don't want to give you information overload. I am going to go through the really important ones when we go through the rotations, but there are links in the description down below so you can import both of these into your game without any fuss. Before we get into those exciting rotations though, first let's have a look at what we've got in our arsenal on the topic of defensive and offensive cooldowns and also some utility spells. Another thing I always say is that you should look through your entire spell book, maybe once you're a bit more comfortable with the spec, as there is likely always other spells that you should or could know about that may improve your gaming experience. In the case of, again, no information overload, I'm just showing you the core and most important ones that you need to know about. Starting off with these two on the left, we have Bark Skin and Iron Bark. Bark Skin is a defensive cooldown for yourself only. You can't use it on allies, and it's going to reduce your damage taken and increase your healing received. Going down then to Iron Bark, this can be used on yourself if you'd like, but generally you're going to be using it on your allies. This is quite simply going to reduce the damage taken by the person you cast it on for a short duration of time. Going on to the middle row, we've got some interesting ones. Renewal at the top is a very simple self-healing spell that is going to renew 30% of your health only, so it's a personal cooldown. And then we've got Incarnation Tree of Life. This one's a bit more complex. It's going to increase how much healing you do and give you some more armor. You're basically going to turn into a tree, and it's actually going to enhance some of your healing spells and make them even more super duper. And again, I'm going to go through what exactly that does when we go through the rotations. On the right-hand side, then, we've got some big healing cooldowns we can use. Tranquility is a big, super-duper raid-wide heal that we can use in raiding. And then we have Flourish. Remember I said that druids actually rely on heal over time spells, and therefore they take a bit of time to do their healing? Well, Flourish is going to extend the duration of all of those hots, or heal over times, and it's going to increase how fast they tick. So if it's going heal, 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 when you then flourish, it's going to go heal, 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 kind of like that. Looking at some of our really interesting utilities then, again, on the left, we've got some movement impairing utilities, really useful in Mythic Plus and sometimes raiding. Ursul's Vortex is actually going to make a vortex on the ground, slowing any enemies that are inside it, and also pulling enemies back in when they try and exit the vortex. So you're running away from something or trying to keep it somewhere. This is really, really useful. Typhoon then is going to knock back enemies in front of you. If they're running towards you, imagine it's pushing them back out the way with a gust of wind. This is really good in Mythic Plus for Sanguine weeks, where, if you don't know what that is, basically there's a big red pool of yuckiness on the floor and we don't want the mobs standing in it, where you can push them out of it with Typhoon. This is really good in a plethora of different encounters. On the middle row, on the bottom we'll start with is Entangling Roots, another movement impairing ability. It's going to root them in place quite simply. Up top we've got Innovate. This is going to allow you or any other healer you cast it on to cast their spells, and it's not going to cost any mana. You can use it on a DPS or a tank. There's nothing actually stopping you from doing that, but they don't really have mana issues. It's only really healers that are going to need this. You can be selfish, which is fine, and use it on yourself in Mythic Plus or the raid, or maybe your raid leader will actually call out who they'd like you to use it on and when. It really does depend, but this is fantastic. And it's not on a very long cooldown either, really. So if you are running out of mana, or once you're below maybe 70 or 60% mana, you could use it just to make sure that you're being more efficient with your mana. Then we've got some speed increasing utilities. Up top, we've got Tiger Dash. If you haven't taken the talent for this, it won't be orange, it will be green. So in case you can't find it looking orange in your spellbook, that's why. You may have a green version of this. And then on the bottom, we've got Stampeding Roar. The only real difference is Tiger Dash up top is for you. Now that we've gotten through all that, let's actually have a look at the core rotation we're going to be using and our UI. We're going to start off with raid healing and then move on to Mythic Plus. First of all, don't get scared by my busy UI. There's a few things I want to talk you through it. You may notice it doesn't look anything like the default Blizzard UI. Well, that's because I use something called Elv UI, and for my other add-ons, I have all custom profiles that I've made. If you would like to get this UI, you can join my Patreon, and I can also help you install it through Patreon. There's a link down below for the description there. This in the middle of my screen is something you can't click on, but it does show you all of your cooldowns and your mana and things like that. And this is called a weak aura, and this particular one is by Luxfos. It's an add-on. Again, if you're not sure what the hell I'm talking about, join my Discord below. We've got a really friendly and helpful community that will explain this a bit further for you, and I have some guides that I've written in my Discord as well. But this Luxfos weak aura in the center is really useful for putting something in the middle of your screen where basically you can just see all of your cooldowns, etc. in one place. So let's go over the core spells we have before then looking at how we're going to use them. I've made this nice big bar in the middle. Obviously, I don't actually play like this. Or do I? Maybe I do. First up on the left here, we've got something called Efflorescence. This is a big healing AoE blossom. So when we click on this, you can see here that I have this green circle and I can place it here wherever I like. And you can see there's the blossom, and everyone within this area is going to be healed. Okay, so it's a big AoE heal. You should be putting down at all times wherever the most clumped up people are, like on the melee. Next up, we have something called Life Bloom. And again, a lot of these are going to be heal over time spells. Some will also have an instant heal at the start. Heals the target over 15 seconds. When Life Bloom expires, the target will be instantly healed. And this is called it blooming. Life Bloom, at the end of the hot duration or heal over time duration, it blooms. You can see here, it may be active on one target at a time. And this is because of the talents we've chosen for raiding. So I can put Life Bloom on myself, and therefore it's healing me over time. If I go into the talent tree, this talent at the bottom, Photosynthesis, actually changes the way our Life Bloom works a bit. When your Life Bloom is on yourself, your periodic heals, or your HOTS, are going to heal 20% faster. And that's on everyone you place them on. If you put it on an ally, your periodic heals on them have a 4% chance to cause it to bloom. Now, I do advise that you put this on yourself so that all of your heals on all of your people are going to heal faster rather than just impacting the one person you're putting it on. So I do always advise that you put your Life Bloom on yourself, even if you don't need any healing for this reason. There's also this talent here, Verdancy. When your Life Bloom ends, or when it blooms, up to 3 targets within your efflorescence are healed. So when my Life Bloom ends its heal over time, 3 targets standing in this big AoE heal that we spoke about are also going to be healed. Really important that you keep this up. The next one is Regrow. Healing a friendly target instantly once it's cast, and another amount over 12 seconds. Again, it does an instant heal and then a heal over time amount. One other talent to note up here is Omen of Clarity, up top right. Your healing over time from Life Bloom, that's the one, remember, we're putting on ourselves, has a 5% chance to cause a clear casting state, making an next regrowth cost no mana. So basically, when we have our Life Bloom up, we have a chance to make our next regrowth free, not costing any mana. And you can see this little icon here, the little blue one on my weak aura has lit up. And you can also see there's a dotted line going around my regrowth. That's how you know that you've gotten a free instant one. So whenever you get that come up, you can use your regrowth and it won't cost any mana. The clear cast, or the free ones, are also going to heal for an additional 30% because of this talent, and it also can stack up to 2 times. So when you do get it, don't think, oh my gosh, I've got to use it absolutely immediately, because it can actually stack up to 2 with this talent build. Let's just recap what we've gone through so far, because it's already getting a bit complex. So we've got our efflorescence that we're going to put down at all times where people are grouped up. We're going to use our life bloom and keep it up on ourselves. And we're going to use our regrowth, kind of when we need to do some single target healing. It also has a hot as well. And whenever we get a free one like this, we are going to use it because it's free. The next one on our list is Wild Growth. It is on a 10-second cooldown. It's an AoE heal. It's going to heal up to 6 injured allies over 7 seconds, and it heals starting off high and then slows down over the duration. That's called Wild Growth, okay? It's an AoE heal. You can pretty much use it on cooldown to heal multiple people at once. The next one we've got here is Rejuvenation. Heals the target over 17 seconds. Now, this is a literal just heal over time. You can put this on a lot of people. Another thing to note is we have this talent down here, Germination. You can apply Rejuvenation twice to the same target, and therefore I can put Rejuvenation on myself once and twice. On my healing bars here, you can see I've got 2 little icons for that. So there's 2 of them on me. We then have our Grove Guardians, summoning a Treant, which will immediately cast Swiftmend on your target. More on what that is in a second. Healing for 30,000. The Treant will cast Nourish. That's a spell that we won't be using, but they will. It's just another heal they use. Or on a nearby ally periodically, healing for 10,000. There's 3 charges of these. So basically, you can cast this, you've got 3 charges, and you can see these little tree people are going to spawn, and they're just going to passively heal people for you. It's really a brain-dead mechanic that we don't have to think about, which is fantastic. Now, you can see here, the little clock is going around, and it's recharging back up to 3 stacks. To make sure you're utilising these well, you can use 2 of them at once on the same person, different people, 3 of them at once, go crazy with them. But what you don't want to do is let them cap out at 3 charges, because it's just a bit of a waste. So always have at least 1 up. Now, the next one is Swiftmend, okay? This is going to consume a regrowth, wild growth, or rejuvenation. So a regrowth, wild growth, and rejuvenation. It's going to consume 1. So these heal over time on your target. I can use this, and it's actually consumed 1 that is on your target to instantly heal someone for a big amount. And there's another talent I want to show you called Soul of the Forest. Swiftmend, the spell I've just shown you, increases the healing of your next regrowth or rejuvenation by 150%, or your next wild growth by 50%. So basically, say I've put a regrowth on someone, and I've just put up that heal over time onto one of my targets, I can then consume the heal over time with a Swiftmend, and then you can see I've got the little Soul of the Forest icon here on my weak aura. This is why this weak aura is so useful, meaning that when I use my next wild growth, that is going to do even more healing. What I always advise to do in a raid setting is to consume either, the rejuvenation or the wild growth, whatever, with your Swiftmend, and then always use the wild growth, because that's what's going to benefit most from it. You can see here now, when I've done that, I've turned into a big tree. Who would have thought? That is because of the next spell we've got here, Incarnation Tree of Life. And this is an interesting one. Shapeshift into the Tree of Life, increasing your healing done by 15%, increasing armor by 120, and granting protection from polymorph. The functionality of your rejuvenation, wild growth, regrowth, and entangling root and wrath are enhanced. Don't worry about the last 2. Are enhanced. So basically, it's a 3-minute cooldown where we can go into a super duper whooper healer. And again, it's going to change the functionality of your rejuvenation, wild growth, from regrowth. If I hover over the regrowth, on the right hand side of the screen, you can see the tooltip coming up. You can see in green, it says Tree of Life instant cast at the bottom. So when you're in Tree of Life like this, your regrowths are instant cast. Your wild growth is actually going to affect 2 additional targets, and your rejuvenation is going to have its healing increased by 50% and its mana cost reduced by 30%. So you can see the green tooltip telling you what it improves for each spell there. And obviously they've all lit up. It's also going to make it so that you've got trees coming out. How lovely. It's here in the talent tree. The one under it actually adds to it. During Incarnation Tree of Life, you summon Grove Guardians every 10 seconds. So when you're in Tree of Life, it's actually going to summon a little tree every 10 seconds that's going to do passive healing. And every time those Grove Guardians fade, the cooldown on Tree of Life is reduced. There's another talent here I want to talk about, which is Reforestation. And this is going to explain something that you may have been wondering for the last sort of minute or two. Every 3 casts of Swiftmend grants you Incarnation Tree of Life for 10 seconds. So you know this one, where we absorb one of our heal over times on a target to then make the next spell do even more healing. Once you've used it 3 times, you'll actually go into Tree of Life for 10 seconds. So you go 1, 2, I've used it 1, 2, 3 times. Oh, boom, every 3rd time we've turned into a big tree for 10 seconds. And that's why that happened. So again, let's recap everything we've learned so far, because it's so much to learn with Resto Druids. Efflorescence, keep this down, clustered on the melee or where a large group of people are. Life Bloom, keep it up on yourself at all times. Regrowth, it's a great single target heal that adds a heal over time. When you see it proc like this, it is a mana free one. Wild Growth is an AoE heal. It's going to heal multiple targets. Rejuvenation is something you can put on a lot of targets. It's an instant heal over time, as in it's instant for you to cast, but then it's going to heal them over a long period of time. Use your Grove Guardians. They're going to do passive healing for you. Use your Swiftmend, and then once you've used your Swiftmend, absorbing a heal on someone, then use a Wild Growth after, because it's going to do increased healing. Every 3rd use of Swiftmend is going to turn you into a tree. Use your tree cooldown every 3 minutes to, go into jumbo mode, making your regrowths instant, your wild growths heal even more people, and your rejuvenations cost less mana and heal even more. And that is really the main focus of Resto Druid. A few other things here is Ironbark. We spoke about that when we went through the cooldowns. Flourish is going to extend the duration of all your heal over times. Another one here is Nature's Swiftness. This is a 1-minute cooldown you can use, and your next regrowth is basically going to be instant, free, and castable, and in all forms, and heal for an additional 100%. So basically you can just use this every minute, and it's going to make your regrowth instant, free of mana, and deal double. It's going to effectively do a big crit on it. And then apart from that, the only other spell I haven't shown you is Nature's Cure, which you can use to remove all magic effects on a target. If you need to dispel a big dirty magic effect on someone. You can also talent in over here. Nature's Cure additionally will remove all curses and poison effects. Sometimes in Mythic Plus, I will go into that as well. Sometimes I won't, depending on what week it is. And then we've got Tranquility down here, number 4 on my action bar. Heals all allies within 45 yards over 6 seconds. Each heal heals a target for another amount over 8 seconds. Healing is increased by 100% when not in a raid, but funnily enough, you only want to use this in raid. It's just a massive heal. The way druids are set up is that you should be ramping up for incoming damage, and what I mean by that is have your efflorescence out, have your life bloom up on yourself, get a regrowth out on people, get your wild growth out, and spam out loads of rejuves and your Grove Guardians, then flourish to extend the duration of all those heal over times before massive damage comes in. So that basically when the huge damage comes into the raid, they're already hotted up from all your spells and are going to be immediately healed without you having to cast anything. That is how druids work, and that's why they're quite a complex and hard healer, because you have to know when the damage is coming in. A note on that, with our mastery, passive, Harmony, that's our mastery. Your healing is increased by 15% for each of your restoration heal over time effects on the target. Basically then, if I've got a regrowth on someone, my healing on them is increased by 15%. If there's a wild growth on them too, it's an extra 15% on top of that. If there's a rejuvenation, you can add another 15%. If the wild growth is life bloom is on you, it's another 15%. The more heal over times you have on someone, the more healing we're going to do. And that again is how Druid works, that you want to get as many heal over times on people as possible. And remember, you can put rejuvenation on twice. It's quite a complex healer. That was quite a lot to talk through. Hopefully it made sense. I'm going to recap one more time just to give you an overview and reinforce what we've learned. And then we're going to look at the changes we're going to make for Mythic plus healing. Don't worry, there's not too much. So again, efflorescence, keep it clumped up where there's multiple people. Keep life bloom on yourself because it's going to increase how quickly your heals heal and therefore healing more over time. Regrowth, it's an instant it's an instant heal and also a heal over time. Wild growth is AoE. When you get your free ones like this, use it. You can use 2 rejuvenations on the same target. Don't let your Grove Guardians cap out at 3 and use them as much as you like. You can consume a heal on your target to then do some healing and then make your next heal do even more. Go into Incarnation Tree of Life, which is going to jumbo size your other heals. Ironbark is for reducing damage on allies Bark Skin is for reducing it on yourself. Flourish is going to extend the duration of your heals. Nature's Swiftness gives you an instant and free jumbo regrowth, which is the single target one. And Nature's Cure is your de-spell. I'm going to swap over the talents so you can see what's changing. Ta-da! There's only a few things, so don't panic, that we're going to talk through. There's actually really only 3 spells that I'm actually going to tell you about that have changed. 1, we've gotten rid of the Germination, which means that your Rejuvenation can only be put on someone once, not twice for Mythic Plus. And oh, by the way, if you actually want to see something people always comment is that they'd love to actually see it properly in action. Well, guess what? You can. I actually stream Mythic Plus often on my Resto Druid, which is my main, every Monday evening UK time on the Purple website and also YouTube and TikTok as well. So if you do actually want to see these in action in Mythic Plus, and I can also answer any questions for you, etc., or if you just want to chill, I do actually stream every Monday and some other evenings as well. I'm always really happy to help teach you and guide you on those streams as well. But anyway, sorry, back to the video. So we can't put Rejuvenation on 2 people at once. Sorry, on one. We can't put it on one person twice. We can only put 1 Rejuvenation on each person at a time. God, does that make any sense? The other thing is we now have this spell, Cenarian Ward. It's really, really simple. It's just a 30-second cooldown that puts a shield on someone. I always use it on the tank on cooldown, and I have it bound to my mouse wheel down. So every 30 seconds when it comes off cooldown, I just mouse wheel down on the tank and it puts a shield up on them. Really simple. We don't have the big tree anymore. We've actually swapped into something called Convoke the Spirits. This is much simpler. And if you are a real beginner and you're struggling with the added complexity of Incarnation Tree of Life, then just go for Convoke in the raid as well. Assuming you're doing low difficulty content, it's not going to be a big deal. This is a beginner guide after all. So basically what Convoke does is if I press it, you're going to see I'm going like that, and it's just going to bust out a load of healing spells, and that's it, passively. It's on a minute cooldown. You press it on cooldown, and it's just going to do a load of healing spell. What I, as someone who plays at a higher level, does, and what some people will recommend, is that you go into cat form like this, go up to your target, and then use Convoke, because it will also actually deal a load of DPS spells as well. But as a beginner, don't worry, it's fine to use it for healing spells, of course. I sometimes use it for both. Sometimes if there's no healing to be done, I'll use it for DPSing. If there is loads and high mobility, because you can move while you're doing it, I will use it for healing. So, another brain dead spell that we can use where you just do it and it does it all for you, basically, which is really nice. We don't have the Tree of Life. And you can see here the talent below it, then Convoke the Spirit's cooldown is reduced and its duration, number of spells cast is reduced. But obviously it's, much better because the cooldown is half. It has an increased chance to use an exceptional spell or ability because it does have different chances to use different spells, but don't worry too much about that as a beginner. And then we have this really interesting one here, Undergrowth. Your life bloom may be on 2 targets at once, meaning you should still always have your life bloom on yourself, but you can also use it on somebody else as well, which means you're actually going to get both benefits from the photosynthesis talent. While life blooms on yourself, your periodic heals heal 20% faster, but also while it's on an ally, your periodic heals on that person have a 4% chance for it to bloom. You can put it on the tank or someone that's taking a high amount of damage, etc. But you can also still use it on yourself. So a few differences there. And then the other change is this spell here called Adaptive Swarm. This one is basically going to jump around. It's quite, actually, have I got it on here? I have it bound to my mouse, you see, so you don't see it on my action bar. But it's quite cool. See, it flies out that swarm of bugs at the target dummy. You can use this on an ally, or you can use it on an enemy. And basically, every now and then, that swarm is going to jump to a different target. See, it's just jumped back to me. So it's on the enemy, and then it's going to jump to me, doing healing for me, damage on the enemy, and it's going to jump around. Now, this is on a quick cooldown of 25 seconds, and you can see it's jumped to the other target dummy. So now I can put it on that target dummy again, and now it's on 2 of them. Basically, this is going to jump around to all different targets doing healing and damage, which is fantastic. Now, Obviously then you need to think, well, how can I efficiently get it onto the right targets? Just put it onto whoever you like if you really can't be bothered and you're a total beginner and you don't want to make things too complex. But there is also a weak aura I use, which I'll link in the description below, that will highlight on your healing bars, if you have them installed, like Voodoo or LVI, who to put it on. And it makes it, again, more brain dead for you, which is what I use, because Resto Druid is already very complex. Let's try and make it as simple as we can, you know? And that's really the only changes for Mythic Plus. So again, the changes were basically we've got this adaptive swarm spell I've just spoken about. We've got Convoke the Spirits, which you can just cast on cooldown and it'll efficiently put out heals to whoever it wants. We've got Cenarian Ward, which is a shield you can put on someone every 30 seconds. You can't have 2 rejuvenations on the same person at once anymore. You only have it on 1. And we can use both Life Bloom on ourselves and somebody else. We can have 2 up at once. And that's pretty much it. That's the changes for Mythic Plus. So let's recap it one more time, just so we know we've got everything covered. Efflorescence clumped up here where the melee are or where there's a group of people. Life Bloom on just yourself in the raid or on you and somebody else in Mythic Plus. Regrowth is a great single target heal. Use your free ones when you can. Wild Growth is a big AoE heal. Rejuvenation is a heal over time we can use on many different people. Use your Growth Guardians as much as you like. Consuming spells with Swift Mend, and then always use a Wild Growth straight after. Use your Convoke on cooldown if you've got it. If you've got your Incarnation, use that as and when you need to. Nature Swiftness makes you get a Jumbo Regrowth. Flourish extends your heals. Iron Bark is going to reduce damage taken for people. And ta-da! You are now ready to hit the ground running with Restoration Druid. If you guys did enjoy this video, please do let me know down in the comments below. Again, you can join our Discord. We've got some really knowledgeable Restoration Druids in there who are really friendly and happy to help. And there is no question that is silly, too big, too small. You know, we're there to help. You can also join my Patreon. There's a link down below for that, where you can get some WoW spreadsheets that I've made that help with cooldowns and, keybinds, not cooldowns, that help with keybinds and some other WoW planning. I have a compendium in my Discord that gives you ways to find guilds, shows you how to simulate your character, logging, and if you don't know what those things are, don't worry. But there's a lot of things in my compendium that you can access in my Discord that's really useful as well. It's a big book I've made, sort of thing, a free ebook, if you will, sort of thing, that's really helpful. And there's also, if you join my Patreon, a secret channel in Discord that opens up where you can ask me questions and stuff as well. So thank you for watching. And if you are looking for other specializations for Season 4 of Dragonflight, head over to my channel. On the homepage, you can see there's current class guides here. I'm filming this beforehand, so the playlist isn't there yet, but when you're watching this, it will be. It'll say Dragonflight Season 4, 10.2.6, etc. Playlist, and that'll have every single specialization in the game for you to look at if you need it. Thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in Season 4.